Hey, hello, what's up, and welcome into this week's episode of the Geek Garage Podcast. I'm Ted, joined as always by show founder David. Say hello, David.
Hello, everyone.
All right, that's not bad. We're getting ever closer. How's your week been so far, David? On this Monday, so how has your day been? I guess would be more accurate.
Well, aside from having to work, which was just fine, the day as a whole was good. My weekend as a whole was good. I kind of wasted my Sunday evening watching the Super Bowl game.
Yeah, that was not
Uneventful.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, death taxes and Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl. That's you can pretty much count on those things.
yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Speaking of the Super Bowl, that's what this episode's about, sort of tangentially. This is episode number 87. We're going to be talking about the trailers and some of the other commercials from the Super Bowl because we are officially out of shit to talk about.
That's not true.
No,
It is kind of.
a little bit. But yeah, normally I think pretty much everybody at this point knows that the Super Bowl is kind of where the big summer blockbuster type movies or big summer event type movies have their reveals.
Mm-hmm.
This year, with COVID still kind of hovering over our heads, it wasn't as grandiose, I guess, as it has been in years past.
Yeah.
But there were still a few big ones to go over. So that's what we're gonna do. David, what are your thoughts on this topic?
So, I mean, you are correct. It was a little lackluster compared to recent years, and just that whole topic, just as a whole, is kind of interesting because it feels like when we were growing up, it was all about like the Budweiser commercials, like the Budweiser frogs, and like just the beer commercials in general, and just it was all a competition to see who could make the funniest commercial, and then all of a sudden, it became like this mecca for movie trailers, for video game trailers, for TV or for TV show trailers. Like that's what it was all about. I mean, there were still beer commercials, obviously, but like, all of a sudden, like you said, a second ago, it was all about like the upcoming big summer blockbusters. And then, this year it's, with a lot of shit shut down, including basically all Regal theaters and like half of AMC. It's we got a couple. So there is that.
Yeah. We'll touch a little more on that here momentarily. First things first, a big shout out and thank you to all of our subscribers on whatever podcast app you use. App being the cool way to say application, I guess.
Yeah, that's what the cool kids are calling it.
All you hep cats out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, big thank you to all of our current subscribers, especially those of you that have been here since the beginning when the podcast was not good, as opposed to now when it's just kind of not as bad. And a big welcome and thank you to all of our new subscribers. David and I mentioned this on the last episode, or maybe the episode before that, but 2021 has been pretty kind to us in terms of listeners, which is unexpected, but a welcome unexpected thing. Hopefully, we live up to your expectations. I'm kidding. You don't have expectations. You've heard a podcast from us before. Please don't regret hitting the subscribe button. If you do, tough shit, you're locked in.
Look at it this way. At the very least, you're not having to listen to us and our bullshit. Plus, you have to listen to us plug ads for like HelloFresh and like Squarespace.
Yeah.
So
I like a nice, comfortable pair of underwear as much as the next guy, but if I never hear another MeUndies commercial, it will be too soon. I'm boycotting them just out of spite at this point. They may be the best underwear that's ever been extant. It's not going to happen. Okay. Also, thank you to all of our Patreon donors or subscribers. I don't know why you give us money, but that is cool. Thank you for that.
It's appreciated.
Yeah, we put that towards new podcast equipment and things like hosting fees and website money and shit like that.
Website money.
Website money. That's the technical term. Making sure that the site stays active and all that kind of stuff, so that you can listen to our extensive back catalog of bullshit, as well as read the blog posts that we get excited about and then abandon almost immediately. That's where all your money goes. If you are interested in throwing money into a well, which is a euphemism for our Patreon,
Mm-hmm.
you're welcome to do that. The tiers are pretty cheap. I think it's $2 and $5, and
Yep.
you get a lot of cool stuff like buttons and stickers and um, bonus episodes when we're asked enough to record those, as well as some other cool stuff that we have in the works. Like you might even be able to be a guest on an episode or do a little bit of programming for us. So
Mm-hmm.
there's some cool stuff. If you're interested, you can find us on Patreon. It's all on the website, Geek Garage Podcast. I think it's is it geekgaragepodcast.com, David? I should know that.
Yep.
I should know that.
No, it's actually funnier that you don't.
Yeah, it is
And so
funny.
it's fine, but you are correct. It's geekgaragepodcast.com. That is our one big CTA
Yeah,
or call
you
to
can.
action for the hip cats.
Yeah, you can find all of our info there, including all the social media links. They're on there as well, so I don't have to read them all out every week, and you don't have to get sick of me talking about, hey, we're on Facebook.
Or just check the show notes down below.
Or also
The
there's that.
podcast.
That's even easier. So, all right.
Yeah, it is.
I think that about hits it, David. Let's get started. Yes.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Hit that funky music, white boy.
All right. Boop.
Okay, David. So, first things first, the elephant in the room that I feel like we need to really get out of the way before we can really get started with this this episode of the podcast here is Paramount Plus. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I just that was the first thing that showed up in the commercials. I was like, oh, is this our first trailer? No, it's just a bunch of fucking D-bags climbing a goddamn mountainous snowy cliff. And it was like Paramount Plus, and I was like, oh, get fucked. Like,
Yeah. What the world needs now is another streaming service.
yes, welcome
Yeah.
Cable 2.0. We've been waiting for you ever since Netflix debuted.
Yeah. I mean, I have a small handful of streaming services that I use pretty regularly. I alternate between them. I watch a movie on this one, then I watch a movie on that one, just to justify the fact that I'm spending money on this shit.
Sure.
I don't need another one. I don't think like anybody really needs another one. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be cool stuff on there. I know that they're going to have all the Star Trek stuff, which I'm definitely into, and some other big name stuff. I think all the Nickelodeon is going to be on there, which that's not really in my wheelhouse, but that's still a pretty big deal.
You're right, yeah.
But I don't care, man. I do not.
Yeah. I was just like, come on, like really? Like it just another one? Like we just did this already. Like
Yeah.
and like how lazy is it to just add plus to the end of your shit? Like really?
Yeah, Disney Plus was bad enough, and now it's like everybody's gonna call it that. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say Disney was like the trailblazer for the whole Plus thing, because I honestly don't know if there was a preceding streaming service that had Plus at the beginning. But like, I started seeing other shit like Paramount Plus and Discovery Plus, and just I'm just like, stop it, or like come up with something at least halfway creative, you know.
Yeah.
White people problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it's a bad name and it's unnecessary. I mean, they could lease that. They could lease all that content out and make a lot, probably as much money as they're going to make with a streaming service that nobody's going to fucking sign up for. And look, I'm not going to have Disney Plus ever, but I mean, I know a deal when I see one, and Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN all together for like $12. That's a fucking good deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hulu alone is like 10, I think. So that's not bad. Although, like I said, I refuse to give money to Disney, so that's my own hill to die on, so to speak.
Yeah, that's its own thing for
That's a
sure.
whole other thing.
Yep.
But now that we have that out of the way, we can talk about some other good stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about the quality of trailers we got this year, David?
So, quantity aside, uh, just focusing on quality, I thought it was decent. I'm not going to say it was as great as previous years, but I was I was okay with it. I wasn't upset at the lack of the the overall quality. I thought it was interesting that there were a couple in there. I think maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier, off the top of my head, did that thing where it was like a 30-second clip
Like a
of the full
teaser, yeah.
right, and then at the end of that 30-second teaser was like watch the full trailer online now or whatever. And I think they had that for a couple
Yeah.
trailers, and
Uh,
so I thought that was interesting and probably cheaper on their part. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would say I don't know what it was this year, but I know every year, every couple of years, somebody publishes an article like Super Bowl commercials are now $5 million for a 30-second ad spot, and I'm like, okay, cool, woo. Um, but yeah, I thought that I noticed that as well about the Captain or yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Excuse me. Well, he's Captain America now, basically, but Falcon and Winter
Mhm.
Soldier trailer where it was like, come watch the rest of it online. And I wondered if that was, I mean, because Disney's got money to pay for another 30 seconds of ad time, right? I wondered if that
Right.
was just something to drive traffic to their site um, for something else. So they could
Yeah.
probably sell ad space on that and probably break even, really, in terms of money spent.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's. I mean, I'm not a marketing person, but with you saying that, that sounds like something that would be a thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, new marketing is basically like what's trending on social media, right? What's getting clicks and what's getting hits. So I'm wondering if maybe that had something to do with it. But again, like you said, I'm not a marketer either. So in terms of quality, I would agree. I think that they were, pretty solid. I don't know that they necessarily lived up to some years past, but given, like we said at the top, what's been going on, I think they were decent enough.
Hmm.
Quantity wise, I mean, we covered it at the top again. It was reduced this year for sure.
Yeah. It did inspire at least a little bit of confidence within me that we'll possibly get to a situation in the not so distant future where theaters will start to open up again and we'll be able to go, because there were at least two movie trailers that we got that were pretty explicit about those respective movies only coming out in theaters, and maybe that's to like be like, hey, don't forget about movie theaters, or like, we're not doing that, streaming plus theaters bullshit or
Right,
whatever. So I don't know, that inspired a little bit of confidence in me that and got me pumped again, because we had a whole episode on like, quote unquote the death of movie theaters question
right.
mark.
Which
um
is still kind of a topic of discussion among a lot of people.
mhm.
So we'll see. But again, we're not experts. We're just two jabronis with a podcast. So yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the trailers now because that's the whole point of this episode.
Yes.
We're going to go in the order of their release dates. So that is the order of the films or shows that are being released, not the release of the trailers. So,
Yeah.
yeah. First up is Clarice, a
Hello,
new CBS
Clarice.
show. Yes, a new CBS show based on the Silence of the Lambs, or inspired by that book and that universe by Thomas Harris. That's debuting this week or next week, February the 11th.
And
I think it is, David.
yeah, actually, by the time this episode comes out, it will be in just a day. So,
Okay, yeah.
so yeah,
So later this week,
Thursday.
yeah.
Yeah. Ted,
Uh,
how do you feel about this? I purposefully did not ask you through text how you felt about it, or
right.
if you were excited, because I wanted to talk to you for the first time about it on the podcast.
So, man, I am. I'm a big fan of The Silence of the Lambs. I've talked about it on a podcast before. That movie
Mm-hmm.
is basically perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I like the book as well. I think Hannibal was a step in the wrong direction. The movie Hannibal, as well
Mm-hmm.
as the book. I never watched the show because I was kind of like, this is unnecessary and extraneous. So I'm kind of torn on it because on the one hand, I'm like, oh, cool, Clarice Starling's a great character. There's a lot of potentially great stuff you could mine out of this. But also, I think it's unnecessary and extraneous, and kind of no Jodie Foster, no care.
Well,
I understand, huh?
Jodie Foster's like, not in her 20s anymore, so you
Right.
know.
I mean, yeah. Who is? But I mean, I get it based on the story that they want to tell or the stories they want to tell. This is supposed to take place, I think, like a year or so after the events of the Silence of the Lambs.
Hmm.
Um, I understand that Jodie Foster is not the same age she was when she made Silence of the Lambs, so it would make sense to have a 50 some odd year old Jodie Foster playing herself 30 years ago. I get that.
Right.
I don't really know anything about the actor they got to play Clarice. Rebecca Breeds, I think her name
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so I looked her up on IMDb, and she actually has quite a few credits to her name. However, most of it is TV. Um,
Yeah.
I think I maybe saw Gossip Girl or something. One of those, through and through girl shows for the
Hmm.
most part. Not to demean those shows at all. I'm just saying. But yeah, she has a lot of TV credits to her name,
Hmm.
but I didn't really recognize anything that I was like, oh yeah, that's where she's from, like, because I didn't really recognize her at all. But maybe that's a good thing, like getting a relatively unknown actress or actor
Hmm.
to play this role. I mean,
Right.
me personally, I'm really excited for it. I hope that somehow I'll be able to watch it for free. um, because I
Oh, it's going to be on. I'm sure it'll be on Hulu with commercials, and then probably on CBS's app. So
Right, yeah. I mean, I'm cool with putting up with commercials. Um but yeah, me personally, I'm excited for it. I kind of got into Silence of the Lambs a little bit later in life. Like I think I saw clips of it um throughout my teens and early 20s, and then just at one point in time in my mid 20s I finally sat down and watched it, and I was like, well, this is certainly something.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you. I want it to be good. I don't really watch television
Mhm.
or follow television shows, and I haven't in a long time, which is as my girlfriend would say, makes me a pretentious asshole. But yeah, it is what it is. I hope it's good if for no other reason than most network TV is unbearable garbage. So
Sure.
there's that. You know,
Right.
but I don't know. The trailers were really good. I really liked the trailers. I thought they were very effective in setting up the show, giving you, and there were a few of them because the Super Bowl was on CBS, of course, so they
Yeah,
were able to
that
kind of plug their own shit.
Yeah, that's one thing that I thought was really cool is like every time you saw something for it, it wasn't the same trailer over and over again, which
Yeah,
I mean
they
would have been pretty obnoxious.
right.
So I thought it was really neat that they kind of showed you something new every time it came on. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think they walked a fine line with not giving away too much about the show while also, like you said, giving you something new. Plus, I think they did a good job of mixing in some of the classic sort of Silence of the Lambs stuff, like her monologue about the lambs,
mhm.
and the bleeding and the crying was a big part of a couple of those. So I'm interested in it. I'm curious to know because, to my knowledge, I mean, there's not really a lot of info existent between Silence and Hannibal in terms of what Clarice has done.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I think there's a lot that could be mined for good content out of that. So we'll see how it goes. I am pensively hopeful. Let's say.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pumped for it. I don't know. I might wait until it all debuts and then just binge it, so I have something that I can power through. Um,
Right.
but you know, whatever. But yeah, next one. We don't really have too many thoughts on this. For reasons. But Raya and the Last Dragon, which debuts on March 5th. It's coming out in theaters and Disney Plus. That whole I forget exactly what they call it, but it's the same thing that they did with Mulan, where you have to pay the $30 for it, but you get to keep it forever. Um,
Right.
so yeah, those will be your options for seeing this movie. Um, like I said, I don't have a ton of thoughts on it. It looks like a lot of fun. Looks like something that I would watch with my kids, or I'd be cool to watch with my kids if my kids would sit through a movie of any length.
Yeah.
they
So you'll catch this one in like 2026.
Yeah, my children, because they came from my loins, that's how that works. They bless them, they got all my ADHD tendencies, so they cannot focus or pay attention to one thing for too long, really. Um, so yeah, I don't like I said, this would be something that I would sit down and watch with them, or probably just sit down and watch for myself, because I've been known to watch, some Disney stuff, especially the Pixar. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for it. It seems cool. Um, so yeah, Ted, you got any thoughts about this, or just like eh?
Missed the trailer, didn't know it existed. Moving on to Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is debuting on March 19th, I believe it is, so just
Hmm.
over a month from now.
Yep.
I mean,
It's a
obviously, it stars Anthony Mackie as Sam slash the Falcon and Sebastian Stan reprising his role as Bucky in the Winter Soldier. I don't know that there's a lot known about this show in terms of overall plot. We do obviously know some of the actors and actresses that are in it, as well as the roles they're playing.
Mhm.
Um, but there are some speculations, as the internet is wont to do, as fandoms are wont to do. They've talked about what it could be. So, David, you're more well versed in this stuff than I am, for damn sure. So, what
Sure.
what do you know about this?
Sure. So, like you said, there are plenty of characters that we've seen before that are coming to reprise their roles, respectively. Daniel Bruhl is one of them. He played Baron Zemo in Civil War, and he's been by far one of my favorite MCU villains ever. He, I mean, he's just using his smarts, his brain, and his smarts to outsmart the Avengers, instead of like coming in with crushing force like Thanos, or like any of the other villains that we're super familiar with. He kind of comes at it from a different angle. I'm really excited to have him as a villain in, or I'm assuming he will be a villain. That's definitely the picture that has been painted with the trailers that we've gotten so far.
Yeah, historically, Baron Zemo has been a baddie.
Yeah, and I didn't really know up until a couple of days ago when I was doing some research on the Falcon in terms of the comic books, and as I was reading that stuff, I didn't realize that he goes back to like the '60s, I believe. Um, and Baron Zemo also goes back that far. So that was kind of crazy to read about. Like, you know, I, I kind of learn about comics as I go. So everything is like new information. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. So, but yeah, we got him, and we got Emily Van Camp reprising her role as Sharon Carter. I'm really excited about that because I'm always up for strong, powerful women kicking ass. Um, Wyatt Russell, aka Kurt Russell's son, um, is playing a character, John Walker. Ted, are you familiar with this character by chance? I don't know if he's from the comic books at all.
No, I was never a big Falcon or Winter Soldier guy.
Sure.
Pretty much, pretty much have no idea who that is. So
Yeah, I mean,
there was
nerds
one
out
real
there.
Bucky, and he died in World War II. Okay, that's
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's with quote unquote shield. Maybe he's with Sword, since they have started introducing Sword in. Spoiler alert: they started introducing Sword in WandaVision.
You're doing great,
Um,
David.
I know, right? Doing fantastic. Um, but yeah, all that said, this hands down is what I am the most excited for out of all the trailers that we got. I've loved everything we've gotten with WandaVision so far. And I love the fact that they are only leaving like one empty week of no content in between WandaVision ending and this starting up. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, so it's like a nice little like, hey, I know everyone's fucking miserable out there and we can't do shit and most of the theaters are closed, but you know here's what we can do. We can make sure that you're not waiting 6 to 9 months for the next thing to come out. So that's cool, I think. um
Yeah, right on.
but yeah, like you said, we mostly have a cast list. We don't really have too much of an idea of where the story is going to go, what's going to happen. It's basically, it all just boils down to speculation. It seems like, with the new trailer, there's the shot of Sam with the big poster of Captain America behind him. Seems like maybe they're gonna at least dwell a little bit like they did um, with Spider-Man Far From Home. Um, with Tom Holland as Spider-Man, kind of living up to the legend and the character that was Tony Stark and Iron Man. So I feel like there is probably going to be a little bit of that, like Sam as Falcon being like, "How the hell am I going to fill Captain America's shoes? Like, how do you do that?" Um, so yeah, whatever it is, I'm excited for it. I don't I don't doubt that the MCU is gonna bring it with this shit. So I'm excited for it. And Ted, I'm sure you're excited for it as well.
I already forgot
In
what we were talking about.
in your own way, right? You're what is that? You're excited for other people, right?
Yeah, I'm glad that there's stuff out there that makes people happy. Sure. Coming to America. I'm pretty excited about this one. This one's coming out in March. I think it said March 5th. You're doing a great job in keeping these in order, David. Way to go. This is
Oh
the
yeah,
sequel.
my
this is
bad.
the this is the sequel to Coming to America, the Eddie Murphy film with the same name. This is stylized as Coming, then the number two, and then the word America because it's a sequel. And I guess
Hmm.
Coming to America 2 sounded dumb. So what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one. I love the first Coming to America. Eddie Murphy in the 80s was basically untouchable.
Hmm.
So this is, I just hope it's good. Sequels that are this far removed from the original, and this one's really far removed from the original. So sequels that are far removed from the original are usually bad, just bad. But
Yeah,
hopefully,
historically speaking, it's a fucking minefield.
yeah, hopefully this one is pretty good. The trailer looked good. It's got a lot of familiar faces, both from the first film, reprising roles, as well as new famous comics and comedians. So I have a lot of high hopes for this one. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I personally haven't seen Coming to America, the original. For some reason, I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know why. I know it's kind of a staple in the comedic film realm, so whatever. Shame on me for not seeing it, but
Yeah.
I'll probably end up watching it soon, so I can catch this whenever it comes out in March. Uh, I agree with you. The trailer looked good. It looks pretty funny. Had some laughable moments for me, and I didn't really have the original film in context to put two and two together. So there's that. So yeah, I'm excited that this long-awaited sequel is finally coming to fruition for the fans that have been waiting for it.
Yeah, it's a Prime original movie, Amazon Prime original movie. So I don't think it would get a theatrical run even if theaters were open.
Right.
But it'll be available on Prime forever, I would assume. So
Right.
um,
Yeah.
next we have the film Nobody, supposed to come out on April the 2nd in theaters. starring Bob Odenkirk, Christopher Lloyd, and the RZA. Which just on the cast alone, I am sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bobby Odenkirk. He's the man. He just fucking phenomenal comedic actor.
Yeah,
He's great in Better Call Saul. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. Of course, he was fantastic in Breaking Bad, where he played the same role. Um, so yeah, and seeing him in this role, like I don't know, Ted, what did you think of the trailer? Like, I mean, him like kind of playing like a family man, and but like also this fish out of water, caught in this crazy situation.
yeah. I thought the trailer was good. Where it kind of turns from why didn't you do anything, and then it's because you find out like he was a super assassin or something.
Right? Yeah.
And it's like, oh, because he would have killed everyone. That's why he didn't get involved. I'm interested in it. It's Odenkirk playing off type.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm
Very
kind
off
of
type.
yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how he does in a more action oriented role. Like you said, I think he's definitely got the dramatic chops for it. I don't think there's a question of that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. The trailer looked good. It had a good mix of action and drama and some very dry Odenkirk type humor. So I'm in on this one. I think this one looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. And, if I have to mask it up for several hours and so I can go see it in one of the AMC theaters close to me, then so be it. And plus, it'll mean that I get to go to a movie theater again for the first time since what you and I went to go see
Tenet.
um, Tenet, yeah,
Yeah.
which was back when it was warm outside.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're both in agreement that this one looks good. Next, we have Fast and the Furious 915. This is
Or
coming
just
out.
nine for short.
Yeah, FF9. FNF9.
I
Hobbs and Shaw.
actually I think it's just F9, like function 9
They
on your
have
keyboard.
more fucking like shortened versions of the film names than most films have films. So.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous the naming conventions that they've had to resort to in the past, like Fast 5 and Furious 7 and, fucking Dumb's baldy head number 8.
Right. Now the
um
Rock's here. It's just
Strap your nuts in, motherfucker.
right. I say this as someone who saw the first Fast and the Furious movie in theaters because I was the target demographic.
Hmm.
I was a car geek who liked fast cars and models and bad movies. So it was like, this movie's for you, and I was like, okay. I went and saw it, and it was terrible, but I saw it, and they were stealing fucking DVD players in that movie, David.
Oh my god.
Explain to me how 8 films later they're goddamn super spies. What happened? I missed a couple of movies, so catch me up.
Yeah, it is really insane to go back and watch the first movie. Like, I just want to show like a 12-year-old kid the first movie and be like, those fucking idiots are with their crappy Honda Civics and like their $100 like body kits are swerving
Yeah.
underneath semi trucks to go steal DVD players. Like, were those DVD players like packed with Coke or something?
No,
Well,
they were just regular ass DVD players. Not even Blu-ray, son.
Jesus. Okay. Well, yeah, it's the movies have come a long way, and I believe the latest talks were like, yeah, it's not outside the realm of possibility that before this franchise closes that they'll end up in space. And I was like, well, isn't that fantastic?
Yeah,
Fucking
they've already
Elon
been to
Musk
like
over here.
they've already been to like fucking Antarctica. Why not? Let them go to space. And
Right.
I look at this cast list, and some of these people, I just want to be like, you're better than this. Like, how the fuck did they get Helen Mirren to be in this movie?
I money. I think that's the answer you're looking
Yeah,
for.
or Charlize Theron. Once
Hmm.
again, how the fuck you have an Oscar? Okay, you're somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, I don't really have an answer for that, but yeah, there are quite a few old faces coming to reprise their roles. You know, there's basically the original Wrecking Crew, like Dom and Letty, and apparently they have a kid now. So I'm assuming that it's taking place in the future, or at least a couple years after the last one ended. Um, so everyone minus Paul Walker, rest in peace, Paul. We miss you,
Hmm.
buddy. Han, who is back somehow.
Apparently he's alive. I thought he was dead like 5 movies ago. I don't
It's
know.
because he was dead 5 movies ago.
Oh, and then they were like, "Hey, let's bring him back for money."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Ted, like you said, Queenie, who's played by Helen Mirren, she is apparently back. She was in like a half-second shot, looking like she was either driving or having a lot of fun in the passenger seat. Ramsey, who's played by Natalie Emmanuel, she was Cypher in one of the most recent ones. Um, and then or I'm sorry, not Cypher. She was, I forget what her name was. Cypher was played by Charlize Theron. um but yeah, and then new faces, we got John Cena.
Do 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 do.
Man, I we need to figure out how to do like the that crackling bass effect where it's like bass
Right.
blowing out the speakers, like vibrating the sides of like a
Yeah.
91 Toyota Corolla. Like we need to figure out that effect in post.
I don't think
um
the Corolla was the Corolla out in 1991.
yes, because I had a 91 Corolla.
Ah, okay.
Yes. But yeah, John Cena is apparently, he's credited as Jacob Toretto. So I'm assuming, I guess it's safe
Some relation to
to
Dom,
yeah,
Vin Diesel.
right.
I I just want to look, John Cena, if you're listening, as if John Cena listens to this fucking podcast.
Right. John Cena is tuning into the Geek Garage. That's
But
why
John,
that's why our numbers are doing so well, is because
right?
John
He
heard
posted
about it.
about it on the Twitter. Told all his friends.
Right. Yeah.
Listen, John, I say this as a friend and a fellow John. Um, you're never going to be The Rock, no matter how many bad movies you star in.
No matter how
You're
many
never.
pairs of jean shorts you wear.
Mm-hmm, no matter how many jorts, you're never going to be The Rock. Let it go. But yeah, good for him. He's in this movie. Michael Rooker apparently was just like, fuck it, I'm not in enough bad franchises. What's one more? I'll do it.
Right.
So I don't know. I've been done with these movies for like literally 15 years. I just can't imagine they're doing another one, and then they're going to go to space. So,
Yeah,
goddamn.
I mean, I don't know if space is slated for this one or not. It's, I don't, that was, like I said, that was just rumors. That was just like talks. I am on the opposite side of the fence for Ted. I will keep seeing these movies until they literally stop making them. Uh, I think because I made it this far, like, just might as well keep
Right.
seeing
Like
them.
I'm not mad that they exist. I think, whatever. If people like them, let them enjoy it. I'm not one of those completely joyless assholes.
Hmm.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand. Like, everybody shits on all the Transformers movies, and they're bad, but like these are the same kind of thing, and everybody
Hmm.
loves them. I don't get it. But like I said, teach their own. Let people have fun as long as they're not hurting nobody.
Yeah, that's and that's exactly what these movies are. You know, they're like Godzilla and King Kong. It's not high art, it's just big dumb fun. And you know, there's no reason why Citizen Kane and Fast and Furious can't coexist in the same medium. So
All that said, send them motherfuckers to space, cowards.
yeah, send them to space, or else
Yeah.
I won't watch the last one. I'm just kidding, I will.
I think this is our last one on the docket today. It's a new M. Night Shyamalan film.
Shamalama
It's
ding dong.
Shyamalan. It's called Old. Very
Old.
exciting title. This is the first film by Mr. Shyamalan and Mr. M. Night Shyamalan since his 2019 film Glass, his 1920 film Glass. This one is not an original script, which isn't a bad thing. It's not his film like a lot of the movies that you come to expect from him have been.
Hmm.
It's based on the graphic novel Sandcastle by Frederick Peters and Pierre Oscar Levy. Um, this movie for me came out of nowhere. Like I feel like I've got a pretty good idea of what's going on in terms of films that are upcoming. And I was completely I was watching the trailer. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it looks kind of nuts. And honestly, I'm here for it. Like I will same with the Fast and the Furious franchises. Like, say what you want about M. Night Shyamalan, but like I'll keep going to see his movies. Like I don't care because, he got me with Unbreakable and The Sixth Sense. And so I feel like I owe it to him to keep on checking it out. And I think for the most part, his track record has been pretty good. Um,
Yeah, he got. I really liked The Sixth Sense. I really liked Unbreakable, and then I went and saw Lady in the Water in theaters, and I was just like,
and
"You're
you
dead
wanted
to
to
me,
kill
M Night
yourself?
Shyamalan." Yeah, that was money. I wish I could get back. But
Yep.
no, I mean I agree. I think that even if his movies, a couple real duds aside, I think even when they're not great, there's some interesting stuff going on. So,
Hmm.
and now that he seems like he's out, or at least most of the way out of the woods in terms of the twist kind of movies,
Sure.
I think that this like I said, the trailer, I was really interested by the trailer. I had no fucking idea what was happening at first, mostly because I was just like, what the fuck is this? But it looks really good, in terms of the
Yeah.
trailer. There's no plot listed for the film, but since it's based on the graphic novel, you can obviously, if you're interested, look that up and see what it was about, and even read it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, reading graphic novels and comic books, we always uh we abide.
that is
We
encouraged. Yeah,
yeah, but I have a lot of faith in this just because um I think it's cool that it's based off of a graphic novel one, but also it has I'm sorry, I don't know the actor's name, but he's the eldest son from Hereditary.
yeah. The
Um
kid from Hereditary is in it. I saw him. I was like, hey, I know you. You killed your
yeah,
sister.
yeah,
Uh,
he's a
Unfortunately,
fantastic actor.
he is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was apparently in at least the first Jumanji movie. I'm not sure if he was in the second one. And I've heard those movies are actually really damn good. Just for whatever reason, I haven't gotten around to
So
watching them.
I watched the sequel, or most of the sequel, I should say, because we came in about 15 minutes into the movie. And it wasn't terrible. It wasn't my thing, but
Hmm.
I found myself enjoying parts of it. So
Yeah,
that ain't bad.
yeah. Like I said, um, I've really only heard good things about them. So
Yeah. Anything with Danny Glover is good. I'm good with it. So,
right, yeah, for sure.
the gist on Old is that it's set on an idyllic beach, and then some weird shit starts going down. Spooky. But
Right.
yeah, the trailer looked great. So you can, I'm sure you can find that on YouTube, or some, God knows, somewhere on the internet you can find that. So check it out if you're so interested. David, I think that's all we had to cover. Can you think of any other trailers or anything to talk about?
Aside from our closing segment, shit that does not suck, I think I have said my piece with pretty much all these movies. Um, yeah,
All right. Do you wanna go first for shit that doesn't suck? Or do you want me to?
yeah, I can go first.
All right, rock and roll.
So, I am actually switching it up this week. Normally, Ted and I, just out of habit, and plus, we just both watch a lot of movies. Like, an argument could be stated like too many, but that's not a thing. So,
No such thing.
yeah, no such thing. Um, excuse me. Um, I just read or listened to the audiobook version of American Psycho, and it had been on my reading list for quite some time. I think since Ted, you told me about the book and recommended it to me like several years ago. I want to say like 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll have to check it out. And it's it's a doozy. So no spoilers, of course, if you are interested in reading the book, um, and I guess seeing the movie. So it has pretty much everything. in the movie that everything that happens in the movie more or less happens in the book in some form or fashion. Plus some, yeah, it is very descriptive and detailed to the point where I was I was almost sick and I like had to stop what I was doing, just jaw wide open. Like this shit was actually written down on paper or like typed up in a, in a manuscript. It's fucking nuts. Um, but yeah, it's if you have the stomach for crazy, gory horror shit, then I highly recommend it. So yeah. Also, Ted, thank you for the recommendation. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's a uncomfortable is a good word for it, basically.
Yeah, yeah, uncomfortable is a good one.
So I'm going to keep it the same as I always do. It's another movie I watched. This was something my girlfriend and I were trying to decide what to watch last weekend, and we kind of went through our respective watch lists and picked a handful of titles, and then we're gonna just to narrow it down so we could talk about it. I had seen the trailer for this movie kind of by accident and was like, "Oh my god, this looks amazing!" And it's called Get Duked. Duked, Duked. It's an Amazon Prime original. I know some people have some thoughts and feelings about that, but I fucking loved this movie. We actually ended up watching it twice over the last week because we laughed so hard the first time, and then we ended up watching it again and laughed just as hard. It is fucking hysterical. Um, for those of you that have never heard of it, and I'm sure that probably is a lot of you, it is called, it's an anarchic hip hop inspired comedy that follows four city boys on a wilderness trek as they try to escape a mysterious huntsman. So it's not that kind of makes it sound like a horror movie, horror comedy, and there's some horror elements and tropes in it, but it's mostly a straight ahead comedy, and it is laugh out loud funny. I was like almost in tears in some parts of this, and my girlfriend liked it as well. So, like I said, we watched it twice in the span of a week. I mean, it was great. It came out of nowhere for me, and I laughed my ass off at it.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at it right now. It's actually got a pretty good cast, like Eddie Izzard. That's I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say Eddie Izzard is he's probably the most known name.
mhm,
He plays the Duke, and I can't really get into what his character is without giving you too
spoilers.
much about the movie. But he's in it. It's got it's got this kid who's trying. He's convinced he's gonna be a famous rapper, and his name is DJ Beetroot, like Beat Beat Root. It's so funny. I can't even. It's just amazing. It's dumb. Don't get me wrong. It's very dumb. This is very lowbrow humor in a lot of cases, but it is funny as shit.
Good. Well, I'm down with lowbrow humor and things that are
Yeah,
funny as shit. So I'll have to
yeah.
check it out.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dope.
and that's Get Duked. That's what it is.
Dope. Awesome. Well, Ted, thanks for that. And listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, congratulations, and I'm sorry, like usual. But yes, we appreciate you tuning in. And for all of you new listeners, like we said at the top, we appreciate your subscription. If you would like to or if you enjoy listening to the podcast, the cheapest and actually freest way to show your support is to leave us a rating and a review where applicable. That's usually basically Stitcher and Apple Podcasts or iTunes. If you feel so inclined, like Ted said at the beginning, to give us some doll hairs so we can keep doing this and not have to dip into our own pockets, you can hit us up on Patreon. There will be a link in the description for that as well. But yeah, that's gonna do it. And as always, be kind, stay geeky, and eat lots of cheesecake. Bye.